The secret is people getting together. The secret is telling the truth. Truth is powerful, and it can only be suppressed for so long, and then the truth gets out. And when the truth gets out, a power is created that is greater than the power of the guns and the money that a government possesses. The truth is a very powerful thing, folks, and the truth is getting out to the masses, and that is what is causing the huge changes that we're seeing in the world today. And there really are a lot of changes in the world today. At last, there seems to be some sort of groundswell of at least semi-conscious people who are making a stand in the best way they can. Well, perhaps not the best way they can, but at least in the best way they know how. But the world does seem to be changing to some degree, folks, and the reason that it is because people are waking up to the reality of what government really is. Many of them don't particularly know what to do, but at least they are waking up to the fact that they've been played, and we are seeing a groundswell of, as I said, at least semi-conscious people. If you want to stay in for the long haul and lead a life that is free from illusions either propagated by you or embraced by you, then I suggest you learn to recognize and avoid the symptoms of the zealot and the person who knows he's right. For the dissenter, the skeptical mentality is at least as important as any armor of principle. Christopher Hitchens. An understanding that this journey that we are on, this whole mission we are on to free mankind from the clutches of this cacistocracy, from this slavery system that we're all subject to. This entire quest is ultimately a spiritual battle more than anything else. And all the people that are looking for solutions or looking for the way out of this system, looking for the way out of this mess that we're in, all the people that keep demanding someone supply them with an answer, they need to look a little deeper and realize that they are the answer, and that they're not seeing this because they're very often missing that basic understanding, that basic knowledge that this is a spiritual battle more than anything. And it's due to the failure of people, generally speaking, the failure of mankind in general to step into our spiritual power that has caused these problems and that allows these problems to persist. And if you really want to find a way out of the system, that is the first thing you need to do, is to readjust your spiritual perspective. And essentially what I mean is you need to readjust your perspective of what you are and what your relationship to this earth is, what your relationship to government, to the people around you is, and realize that what we're facing here is a spiritual battle. It's the spiritual oppression that people have been subject to that has kept them cowed, kept them in fear of standing up for who and what they are, or stepping into who and what they are, even ever realizing the power that they have. Many people see this power within them. Many people know that there is a power that is dormant within them, but they're very often afraid to step into that power because of this lack of spiritual understanding that they have. And it isn't that they can be blamed for this lack of spiritual understanding. It's what this society has done to people. This society doesn't present any of these concepts to anybody. And in fact, it goes out of its way to make sure these sorts of understandings are covered up and viewed as something terribly new age or something esoteric, something like fairies in the garden that just shouldn't be paid attention to, magic and all that sort of stuff. Nothing practical that we ever need to know, just spiritual mumbo-jumbo fed to you by people who won't face reality. That's the type of mentality that's put into people through the education and social systems, and many people are too afraid to even have or express any spiritual thoughts because of what other people may think of them for even having them. And really it is the suppression of this spiritual power and the suppression of these spiritual thoughts and the suppression of these methods of higher thinking that keeps us where we are. Because when you adopt these perspectives and you really see yourself for what you are and you lose stake in the outcome of your actions, then all fear falls away from you. And in light of what we're facing as a species, there comes a point where you simply have to stand up against the system and you realize how easy it actually is for you to do so. But of course, in saying this, I'm not suggesting that you suddenly go out and give up your job and become an activist and think that everything's going to work for you. I'm not saying that at all. But it gets to the point where you have to say something. And the question is, why not? Why would you be afraid to speak out? It's only because you have a stake in the outcome. You have a stake in the outcome of your life, and you don't have the confidence really in what you're saying. You know, many people don't speak out because they simply don't have the inner confidence in what they're saying. It isn't that they don't have inner confidence in themselves, it's that they don't have the real confidence in what they're saying. Because if they did, they'd be able to speak it. And that may be a strange way to look at it for some people. I mean, and I know some people just really don't like public speaking. They don't like to put their face out there. They don't like to put their voice out there. But it isn't just public speaking. I mean, you can talk to your friends and all that sort of stuff. But many people are afraid of peer group pressure. They're afraid of what people may think about them. They have a stake in the outcome. And I'm not suggesting that people simply become activists or anything. I'm just pointing out a possibility as to why people don't speak about their surroundings a little bit more than what they do. And, you know, it is quite understandable in many ways because it's an interesting life, the life of the dissenter. It's not really a path that people choose. It's certainly not a good career choice, trust me on that one. But there comes a time when you just see the system in your face so much and it becomes such an affront to what it means to be human that you can't just continue on living your life in some sort of a lie. And so it becomes a choice that many people are simply forced to make just to remain true to themselves. But it's a path that is fraught with pitfalls. It's a path that really tends to put you on the outside of society, and it also is a path that opens you up to much abuse from other people, to much judgment from other people. As soon as you put your voice out there, folks, you can be sure that someone's going to try to hack you down. You get one little thing wrong, make one mistake, say one word out of place, someone will use it against you. They always do. That's just the nature of the beast. Or even if you get every word in place and someone simply disagrees you on some small detail of what you said, they'll still try to use it against you. They'll make all sorts of accusations against you and attempt to turn people against you. It's just the way things go. So it's certainly not the most relaxing path to choose, and you certainly need thick skin to stay on the path for any length of time. When you have this correct spiritual perspective about yourself and about your relationship to reality, well, non-compliance comes by default. It really does. You know, you begin to realize that the only thing that holds the system up is our willingness to comply with all of this rubbish that is given to us. And we simply don't need to. But we just do, and we never question it. But we should. Don't worry what anybody else believes and realize that we are all in this together. And if we stand together and address the criminals that are running this world into the ground and controlling our societies and running us into the ground at the same time, we can heal things very quickly. And we can do it without squabbling with each other, because if you've got this correct spiritual understanding, you're not going to be squabbling with people anyway. You're not going to be trolling the internet, accusing people of being shills because they disagree with you. You're going to be looking at the system and putting your energy there, putting your energy into uniting and respecting the people around you so you can all stand up in a massive wave of non-compliance together, because that's what we need to do. Simply stop complying with our own enslavement. It's really that simple, folks. In fact, it's so simple that people just can't see the forest for the trees. There's nothing to stop you getting involved yourself now anyway. There's nothing to prevent you still gaining these basic spiritual understandings you need to find your true path through life. There really isn't. There's nothing to stop you gaining these perspectives. There's nothing to stop you applying yourself to the situation that you're in anyway, regardless of what change comes or doesn't come. Because the thing is, if it doesn't come, if it isn't imminent, if it's just a one big smokescreen the way it always has been, and it's up to us to make the change ourselves, well, there's nothing to prevent you from making those changes to your own life now. And like I said, the first change you need to make is to adopt a correct spiritual perspective of what you are, and to realize the power that you have for change, to implement change in your life, and to put down all stake in the outcome, put down all fear of this existence, and realize that it's about the journey and what you do with the journey. But if you step out of your comfort zone and throw yourself to the wind a little bit, remarkable things can happen, and remarkable change can come to the world if people do that. Because even by doing that, you're not complying with this system. You're not complying with the path that society wants to lay out for you. You're choosing your own. And that's an important thing. That's an important part of the lesson, and it's how we gain the lessons that we need, by stepping onto this path and just allowing it to take us wherever it will lead us. Because very often you'll find that it's exactly where you're supposed to go. You just didn't know it because you didn't know that path was there, because you never stepped out of your comfort zone. You never stepped off familiar territory and tried something new. We've got so much available to us at the moment, folks, that we could lead the world into an incredible place. I mean, even with all this cryptocurrency and everything that's happening, the cryptocurrency could be used for us to step outside of this fiat system completely. It could be something really good for us if we take control of the system itself and don't allow the system to take control of the cryptocurrency. Now, these are all sorts of possibilities that we have. Now, everything that they attempt to do to keep us back and to hold us down is something that can be used to our advantage if we're sensible about things and if we view every crisis as being an opportunity, the way they do. Now, when they stage all these events, they're all opportunities for them to introduce more legislation and tougher rules, but they're also opportunities for us as well in all of this. The situation that we're facing is an opportunity for us to step into our power. Now, even the oncoming AI, it is a great opportunity for us to do something wonderful if we take control of the system before the AI is able to take control of the system. And again, this is going to take us adopting a correct spiritual perspective in order to do this. We don't need to be enslaved by digits. We don't need to be enslaved by an economic system, and we don't need to pay for every aspect of our lives. We don't need to allow an AI to be constructed which is based on an economic model. But we have to take responsibility of that ourselves first in the real world in order to transfer this understanding to the AI, because the AI is learning from us. And that's the important thing. Even with the cryptocurrencies, the way it's all being presented, it's all about profit. Get in now, make lots of profit, profit. It's all about profit. It's all about self-gain, self-gratification. None of it is about healing the world. None of it's about healing this reality. None of it is about moving the human race forward in some way. It's all about making personal gain. And it's all personal gain in the digital world as well, folks. Never forget that. It's digital currency, which means it doesn't actually exist and can be switched off at any time. The full armor that you can be standing in by having spiritual awareness is profound. Removing stake in the outcome and standing in your true power can change this system in a day. And every single person out there has the ability to do this. Every single man, woman, and child on earth has the power to do this. Everything about this system has been designed to remove that power from us and to prevent us from ever really standing up for ourselves, because it prevents us from ever knowing ourselves enough to want to do that, enough to believe in ourselves to be able to do that. But the release that you can get and the shifting of weight, the shifting of burden from your shoulders and the shifting of emotional burden from your shoulders you can get by simply standing up and standing in your power is absolutely profound. But nothing about this system wants you to do that. Nothing about this system is designed to let you do that. Everything about it is designed to keep you down. The food they feed you, which poisons you, which keeps you locked into these lower vibrational levels. The stuff they feed you on the television, the stuff they feed you in the magazines, the hope that they give you that someone else is going to come along and save you all the time. There's always someone on the border that's going to go in and bat for you. You never have to stand up yourselves. You sit there, don't rock the boat. Someone's coming to save you. A lot of the independent media even does this as well. If we were to simply stand in our own power and refuse to comply with this system, refuse to comply with anything that causes us to step outside our moral compass, as I've said to you so many times, then we would change the world in a day. It's really that simple. That really is the key to the whole thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's really important that people see the problems and put down the fear of these issues, put down the fear of addressing these issues. I can look at all the problems and all the negative stuff that's going on in the world, but it's not bringing you negative information. To me, it's bringing you positive information. To me, it's positive to be aware of this negativity. It's a positive thing, because once you're aware of it, you can address it, because it's so easy to address it simply by remembering what we are.